$150,000 per year in equity just vanished from your Google L6 compensation package. You didn't get fired, you weren't demoted. The refresh cycle just got pushed back 12-18 months. And if you're holding L6 plus equity at Google right now, this is costing you real money that affects your retirement timeline, your mortgage qualification, and your 401k contribution room. Stay with us for exactly how much this costs you, because the math is shocking. You thought you had $500,000 in total comp locked in. The math says you might have $350,000 instead. Here's what changed and why it matters right now in 2025, and why you need to know this before your next compensation review. Research from levels.fyi analyzed across Q3 and Q4 2024 Google L6 Plus job postings reveals a structural shift in compensation timing. Post-2024 layoffs, RSU refresh cycles, the equity grants that bridge the gap between your vesting cliff and your next promotion, are delaying beyond historical patterns. The $150,000 equity swing is in a 1 year. It's a documented 40% reduction in annualized equity value when refresh cycles extend. And this affects every single L6 currently in a refresh gap right now. Here's the baseline math that actually matters. Typical L6 at Google was structured as $200,000 base salary plus $300,000 in equity over a 4-year vesting schedule. That's $75,000 per year in equity value annualized. Total comp, $275,000 per year gross. But equity refresh cycles, new grants issued every 2-3 years to avoid retention cliffs, historically bridged that gap and kept total comp near $500,000 annually. This was the stability promise. Now those refresh grants are delaying. Instead of a new $300,000 grant hitting at year 2, 5, it's hitting at year 3, 5, or 4. Your equity value doesn't vanish, it just compresses into fewer pay cycles. Your annualized comp during the refresh gap drops from $300,000 to $150,000. That's your income shock, $150,000 less per year, in years when you expected stability. And here's the rehook, this affects whether you can actually afford to stay. Multiply $150,000 by 5 years at your current tenure and promotion velocity. That's $750,000 in suppressed gross income over a single career window. But the tax and retirement impact cuts much deeper than your checking account. The IRS caps 401k contributions at $23,500 per year. When your W-2 income drops $150,000 because equity refresh cycles extend, you're not losing $150,000 in retirement savings directly. You're losing the ability to contribute the full $23,500 annually if your household is income constrained by the refresh gap. Over 5 years, that's $117,500 in foregone contribution room. If that money would have grown at 7% annually in a diversified portfolio, you're looking at roughly $170,000 in lost retirement compounding by age 65. That's real money you'll never get back. And this is before we even talk about HSA contributions, which compound tax-free. Your mortgage qualification basis also shrinks. Lenders typically qualify based on 2 years of W-2 income. If your W-2 drops from $275,000 to $200,000 during the refresh gap, your borrowing power contracts by $300,000, $400,000 on a conventional 30-year mortgage. Depending on rate environment and down payment, that's not abstract, that affects your home purchase timeline, your ability to refinance, and your family's housing options. $400,000 borrowing power reduction means you're priced out of markets you plan to enter. But there's a third impact that ties everything together, the timing trap. If you exit before your refresh cycle hits, you lose the $300,000 grant entirely. If you stay through the delayed cycle, you lose $150,000, $200,000 in compressed annualized value. This is a forced choice, and Google's compensation structure now makes both options punitive. You're stuck. Here's where it gets worse. The data shows this isn't temporary. Google's 10K filing from 2024 disclosed that headcount restructuring and equity award timing shifts are now structural, not cyclical. The company is managing equity expense differently post-layoff. Refresh delays aren't a backlog issue, they are deliberate compensation recalibration. This is the new normal at L6 and above. What should you actually do? This is educational, not advisory. But the research suggests 3 decision gates. First, confirm your RSU grant refresh date in your compensation statement, not your manager's promise, your actual equity documents from the HR portal. Second, model your 401k and HSA contribution room, assuming your income flattens during the refresh gap. You may need to save more aggressively in non-deferred accounts now to keep retirement savings on pace. Third, calculate whether staying for the next refresh cycle actually pays out better than exiting before the gap and reinvesting in a firm where equity cycles are still stable. This is a $400,000, $600,000 decision over 10 years. The refresh cycles are public data now. The math is knowable. And your retirement timeline depends on getting this decision right. Your career is the largest asset you own.